Okay, welcome everyone. Today we're jumping into something really practical, boosting your English vocabulary.
That's right. We're focusing on testing and sharpening those skills, mainly using fill-in-the-blank challenges. It's a great way to learn.
So what can you expect in this episode? Well, we'll cover vocabulary for everyday things like, food and emotions.
And also some key words for professional situations, like work emails or meetings, stuff that comes up a lot.
We'll explain the words, show you how they sound, and natural conversation. We've got some role plays planned.
And interactive challenges for you to try. We'll keep the pace nice and clear so you can follow along, maybe even repeat the words.
Absolutely. We really want you to join in when we pause for the challenges. Think of the answer yourself.
And, engage with us. Comments, likes, subscribing, sharing it all helps. And we'd love to hear from you.
Ready to get those vocabulary muscles working?
Let's dive in.
Okay, before we hit the specific words, let's just chat for a second about why choosing the right word is so important. It really stood out as we prepared for this.
It really does. Using precise vocabulary isn't just about sounding, smarter. It helps you communicate exactly what you mean, adding layers, nuance.
Right. Like instead of always saying very happy in maybe a more formal setting, you might use elated or overjoyed.
Exactly. That specific choice tells you more about the level or type of happiness. And it also signals the formality, the register of the conversation.
That's a great point, register. Sometimes you need formal language, like maybe conduct research in a business proposal.
Yeah, versus something more casual like do research if you're just emailing a colleague.
So in this episode, we'll definitely highlight those differences, casual versus maybe more academic or professional words as we go through each section.
And another thing we noticed was how words tend to stick together. Patterns. They're called collocations.
Ah, right. Words that just sound natural together.
Yeah, like fast food comes up all the time. Or in a work context, maybe heavy workload.
Or even something like emotional intelligence.
Exactly. Recognizing these pairs helps you pick the right word more easily. Almost automatically, it just sounds correct.
We also saw different forms of the same basic word cropping up, word families, right?
Precisely. Take the verb analyze. You might see the noun analysis or the adjective analytical.
Or even analyzer, the person or thing doing it.
Right. And you might see that adjective describing something like the analytical approach was rigorous. Understanding these families helps you use words flexibly in different sentences.
Good point. Okay, so as we get into some fill-in-the-blank practice later, maybe some quick grammar reminders, things like articles.
Yeah, definitely. A and the. Simple but important. For instance, she conducted experiment. You need and there because of the vowel sound.
And countable versus uncountable nouns, too, like having much experience versus many publications.
That's a classic one. Experience is often uncountable there. Publications are countable. Also prepositions. They could be tricky.
Oh, yeah, like consistent with expectations.
Exactly. Or responsible for managing the team. Getting that little word right makes a big difference in sounding fluent.
And finally, verb forms. The tense matters, depending on when something happened.
Right. If something was finished before another past event, you often see the past participle with had, like they had analyzed the data before the meeting.
Compared to, say, they analyze the data daily, that's present simple, or routine.
Or they analyzed the data yesterday. Simple past, done deal.
Okay, those are really useful tips to keep in mind. Thinking about those patterns helps a lot. So shall we get into our first set of words?
Let's do it. We'll start with vocabulary related to food and leisure, stuff you might use when talking about eating out or relaxing.
All right, we've got 10 words for this section. Listen for the meanings and examples. First up, appetizer.
An appetizer is that small dish or drink you have before the main course to, get your appetite going. Comes from the Latin word appetitus.
Number 2, delectable.
Delectable just means really delightful or delicious. Like the chef's special dessert was truly delectable. Sounds fancy, but just means yummy.
3, cuisine.
Cuisine refers to a specific style of cooking, usually from a particular country or region. Like Italian cuisine, Thai cuisine.
4,
Palates.
your palate is your personal sense of taste, or how much you appreciate different flavors. Someone might have a sophisticated palate if they can pick out subtle tastes.
5,
Gourmet.
gourmet. This describes high quality, often specialized food. Or it can be a person who really enjoys that kind of fine food, like gourmet coffee or gourmet cheese.
6, beverage.
Beverage is just a slightly more formal word for any kind of drink. Water, juice, soda, tea. They're all beverages.
7. Confectionery.
Confectionery, basically sweets or candy. You might see a shop described as specializing in artisan confectionery.
8. Culinary.
Culinary means anything related to cooking or the kitchen. Someone might go to culinary school, for example.
9.
Nibbles, a more casual word for small snacks or bites, may be served at a party before dinner. We add some nuts and olives, just some nibbles.
And number 10. Hors d'oeuvre.
Hors d'oeuvre.
Oh.
It's French, similar to an appetizer, small savory items served before a meal. It literally means outside the work, meaning outside the main course. Think mini quiches, olives, things like that.
It's funny how many food words come from other languages. Like canapé, that little piece of bread with topping. Apparently it comes from a word for mosquito. Weird, right?
Huh, I didn't know that. And aperitif, the before-dinner drink, comes from Latin to open. Antipasto is Italian for before the meal.
Then there's meze from the Middle East, those platters of small dishes.
Yeah.
And Spanish tapas. English just borrows everything.
It really does. Okay, let's hear some of these words in action. We'll do a couple of quick role plays. First, a casual restaurant chat. Try to guess the missing words.
Okay, you start.
As customer, hey, I'm craving something savory tonight. Any ideas?
As friend. How about that new bistro? Their platter looked amazing online. Reviewer said the nibbles were fantastic, like the mini meatballs.
As customer, ooh, sounds good. What about veggie options?
As Fred. Yeah, there seems pretty diverse. Lots of plant-based stuff. And they have a huge list of, too, like craft sodas.
Perfect. All right. My adder's ready for a treat. Okay, did you catch those? Based on our list, it would probably be appetizer platter.
The delectable nibbles.
Their cuisine seems diverse.
Plenty of beverages.
And treat my palate. Nice. Now, for a slightly more formal one, maybe like a dinner party invitation.
As guest, thank you so much for the invitation. I've heard you prepare quite the meal.
As host, oh, it's my pleasure. Tonight it's French me. I've been practicing my artistry. Please, have some gougères while I pour you a pen.
Wow, everything looks wonderful. You must be incredibly refined to come up with this menu.
So, in that more formal exchange, we might hear words like gourmet meal,
French cuisine,
culinary artistry,
a fine beverage.
and a refined palate. See how the word choice fits the situation.
All right, now it's your turn. Fill in the blanks using one of the 10 food and leisure words we just covered. We'll pause after each sentence. Ready?
First one. A small dish served before the main meal is called an oeut.
Pause. The answer is appetizer, an appetizer.
Next one. Her palate could distinguish many subtle flavors.
Pause. The word often paired with palate here is sophisticated. Her sophisticated palate, refined, could also work. While sophisticated wasn't in our main 10, it collocates strongly and fits the context.
Number 3. This restaurant offers authentic Italian alludi, including pasta and gelato.
Pause. That's cuisine, Italian cuisine.
Number 4. He prepared a meal using only organic ingredients.
Pause. The word is gourmet, a gourmet meal.
And the last one for this section. The chef's signature dish was so that patrons raved about it.
Pause. It was delectable. So delectable.
Great work.
Yeah.
Now let's shift focus. We're moving on to vocabulary common in work and professional settings.
Right. Words you'd likely encounter in business emails, reports, or meetings. Again, we've picked out 10 key terms.
Okay, listen for the definitions and examples for these professional words. Number 11. Collaborate.
To collaborate means to work together with others on a specific project or task, like the design and engineering teams need to collaborate closely. It's slightly different from just cooperate.
12. Facilitate.
To facilitate is to make a process or action easier, or to help it happen smoothly. A manager might facilitate a team discussion, making sure everyone contributes.
13. Delegate.
When you delegate, you assign a task or responsibility to someone else, usually someone who reports to you. The manager decided to delegate the report writing to her assistant.
14. Competency.
A competency is a specific skill or ability needed to do a job well. Job descriptions often list required competencies, like leadership competency or technical competency.
15. Strategic.
Strategic relates to long-term plans and high-level goals. A strategic decision impacts the overall direction of a company, for example.
16. Implement.
To implement means to put a plan, decision, or system into effect, to actually start doing it. We will implement the new policy starting Monday.
17. Benchmark.
A benchmark is a standard or point of reference against which things can be compared or measured. Companies use industry benchmarks to see how they're doing compared to competitors. It can be a verb too, to benchmark performance.
18. Synergy.
Synergy is that extra boost you get when people or companies work together effectively. The combined result is greater than the sum of the individual parts. Think 1 plus 1 equals 3, often used when talking about mergers.
19. Leverage.
To leverage something means to use it to get the maximum possible advantage. We need to leverage our brand reputation to enter new markets, using what you have effectively.
And 20. Quantitative.
Quantitative relates to numbers, amounts, or measurements. Quantitative data involves figures and statistics as opposed to qualitative data, which is more descriptive. We need a quantitative analysis of the sales figures. Those are definitely core words for the workplace. We also saw related terms like accountability being responsible.
Transparency for open communication, engagement for active participation.
Brainstorming, consensus, alignment, resource allocation, lots of specific language there.
For sure. Okay, let's try a role play, a business meeting scenario. I'll be the manager, you be the team lead. Listen for the blanks. As manager. Okay, team lead, I need you to with marketing on this new campaign launch.
Best team lead, absolutely. To make sure it goes smoothly, I'll a series of planning meetings starting next week.
As manager. Good. And remember to effectively specific tasks to your team members according to their strengths.
As team lead, will do. I'll use the agreed upon to track our progress against the targets. Okay, how did you do? The words fitting those blanks would likely be collaborate with marketing,
Implement a series of meetings,
delegate specific tasks.
and use the agreed upon benchmarks. Makes sense.
Now another one, a project proposal discussion. I'm the director, you're the analyst. As director, the board is looking for a more approach for next year's budget allocation.
As analyst. Understood. We could our existing customer data more effectively to identify growth areas.
As director, I like that. Can you prepare a report showing the potential ROI?
As analyst, certainly. All with the finance team to get the most accurate projections.
All right, in that exchange, we heard a more strategic approach.
We could leverage customer data.
Prepare a quantitative report.
And I'll collaborate with finance.
Okay, your turn for the professional vocabulary challenge. Fill in the blank with one of the 10 words from this section. Collaborate, facilitate, delegate, competency, strategic, implement, benchmark, synergy, leverage, quantitative. Pause and think.
First one. To improve efficiency, we must tasks to the right team members.
Pause. That's delegate. We must delegate tasks.
Number 2. Our goal is to a new training program by next quarter.
Pause. The word is implement. To implement a program.
3. We need a plan to enter the European market.
Pause. That calls for a strategic plan. Strategic.
4. The meeting to ensure everyone shares their ideas? Pause. Your role here is to facilitate. Facilitate the meeting.
5. Sales data requires a analysis to identify trends.
Pause. That's quantitative. A quantitative analysis.
6. The two departments will report to create the final report.
Pause. They will work together or collaborate. Collaborate.
7. We use industry to measure our performance.
Pause. Those standards are benchmarks. Industry benchmarks.
8. The merger created significant across the product lines.
The combined power is synergy. Significant synergy.
9. We must see our social media presence to increase brand awareness.
Pause. Use it to advantage. Leverage. Leverage our presence.
And number 10, communication is crucial for this managerial role.
Pause. That essential skill is competency. Communication competency. Fantastic job. You can hear how these words bring a level of precision and formality needed in professional contexts.
Definitely. Okay, on to our final section. Words related to emotions and daily conversation. These came up in more personal or narrative contexts.
Yes. Language for feelings in everyday life. We have 10 more for you. Listen for the meanings. 21. Apprehensive.
Apprehensive means feeling worried or fearful about something potentially bad happening in the future. She felt apprehensive about the upcoming exam results.
22. Elated.
Elated means extremely happy, overjoyed, ecstatic. He was absolutely elated to win the award.
23. Overwhelmed.
Feeling overwhelmed means you feel like you have too much to handle, like you can't cope with the amount of work, information, or emotion.
She felt overwhelmed by all the email.
24. Resilient. Someone who is resilient can bounce back quickly from difficult situations or challenges. They don't give up easily. Despite the setbacks, the team remain resilient.
25. Indifferent.
If you're indifferent to something, you don't really care about it one way or the other, you have no particular interest or sympathy. He seemed indifferent to the outcome of the game.
26. Vibrant.
Vibrant describes something full of energy, life, and enthusiasm. It could be a place, like a vibrant city, or even a personality.
27. Anxious.
Anxious is feeling worried, nervous, or uneasy, often about something with an uncertain outcome. It's similar to apprehensive. He felt anxious before his job interview.
28. Content.
Being content means feeling satisfied and peacefully happy with what you have or your current situation. It's not extreme joy, but a calm satisfaction. She was content living a quiet life.
29. Tedious.
Tedious describes something that is boring, slow, and repetitive. Filling out the forms was a tedious task.
And 30. Optimistic.
Being optimistic means having a hopeful and confident outlook about the future, believing that good things will happen. She remained optimistic despite the challenges. Wow, English really does have a huge range of words for feelings. We just picked 10, but you see things like dejected, furious, mellow, mortified.
Absolutely disgruntled, serene, flustered. The list goes on and on. It allows for really specific expression.
Okay, let's try a quick role play using a couple of these words. Imagine a college counseling session about exam stress. I'll be the counselor, as counselor. I hear you're feeling quite about the upcoming finals. What's causing the worry?
As student. Yeah, I just feel really anxious. There's so much material to cover, and I feel completely anxious.
As counselor. Okay, feeling overwhelmed is understandable. Let's talk about breaking it down into smaller steps.
So in that snippet, we heard anxious, feeling quite anxious.
And overwhelmed, completely overwhelmed. Common feelings in that situation.
All right, final challenge round. Fill in the blanks using one of the 10 emotion daily life words. Apprehensive, elated, overwhelmed, resilient, indifferent, vibrant, anxious, content, tedious, optimistic. Pause and give your answer.
First one. Despite the workload, she remained thriver, knowing she'd finish on time.
Pause. He remained optimistic.
Optimistic.
Number 2. He felt when he heard the good news about his promotion.
A pause. Extremely happy is elated. He felt elated.
3. The long, repetitive meeting made everyone feel fine. Pause. Boring and monotonous means tedious. Feel tedious.
4. After multiple setbacks, she was and kept applying for jobs.
She bounced back. She was resilient.
Resilient.
5. I was before my presentation, but it went well.
Pause. Either apprehensive or anxious works well here. Both mean worried beforehand.
6. The festival was so people danced all night.
Pause. Full of life and energy. Vibrant. So vibrant.
7. When asked to relocate, he was surprisingly cating.
Pause. Showing no interest. Indifferent. Surprisingly indifferent.
8. Moving to a new city left him for a few days.
Pause. Feeling unable to cope. Overwhelmed. Left him overwhelmed.
9. He's with his life right now. He doesn't need much more.
Pause. Satisfied and peacefully happy. Content. He's content.
And the last one, number 10. She was waiting for her test results, biting her nails.
Feeling worried or nervous. Anxious. She was anxious.
Excellent work. You can see how these words add color and precision when talking about feelings or just everyday life. Definitely. So let's quickly recap what we covered in this episode. We explored around 30 key vocabulary words.
Yeah, across 3 main areas. Food and leisure, work and professional contexts, and emotions and daily conversation.
We looked at their meanings, showed how they might be used with examples and those role plays.
And gave you practice with the fill-in-the-blank challenges.
We really hope you'll review these words. Try saying them out loud. Maybe pause this recording and make your own sentence for each one.
Yeah, think about where you might use them. Would delegate fit in your workday? Are you feeling optimistic about something? Context is key.
Think about the register, too. Is it formal? Informal? Applying the words to your own life is the absolute best way to make them stick.
Let us know how you did. Leave a comment with your score on the challenges, or maybe share a sentence using one of the new words. Any questions? Just ask.
And if you found this helpful for building your vocabulary, we'd really appreciate a like. And if you subscribe, you won't miss our next episode. Sharing helps other learners, too.
As you go about your week, listen out for these words. Notice how others use them. Does it match what we talked about? Thinking critically like this really deepens your understanding.
Thanks so much for joining us today and putting in the effort on your vocabulary. Keep practicing.
Keep listening, keep learning. Until next time.